Welcome back to my channel. If you or someone you know has undergone AC separation shoulder surgery, then this is the video for you. If you're wondering, am I ever going to get back to normal? What kind of exercises can I do or what should I avoid? Then you're going to want to listen to this video. Approximately 4 to 5 years ago, I had an AC separation grade 5, and let me tell you, it was a doozy. I'm here today to help you out in any way I can with some tips, some things to avoid, and some different exercises that helped me get to the next level and build back a strong shoulder. Now, assuming you have gone through all the rest that you needed post-op and you followed your doctor's guidelines to sit there in a sling for 6 weeks or longer, I think I was in a sling for 6 weeks and then an additional slow rehab for another 6 weeks. And the reason for that is they don't want the repaired ligaments, in my case they use cadaver ligaments, to fully heal. Like if you glued a rubber band back together and you tested it before the glue actually dried, then it would just pull apart pretty quickly. And that is the fear with this type of surgery, is they don't want you moving too soon that it can pull all the ligaments that they try to reattach off again. In my case, my collarbone was really high before surgery, and it was getting stuck in my trap. I would have to bring my arm down and back up to release it. But even post-surgery, it's not going to be perfect. And in my case, I definitely felt some clicking, some impingements. So it did limit me a little bit, but I used a tip that I did before surgery, even after surgery, while I was working out for maybe the first 6 weeks. I used 2 pieces of KT tape. And what I did is, so my collarbone, or my AC joint, was really coming out right here. You can probably see as I come across, okay? It still is a little bit of an impingement. But what I did is I took one long piece, cut it in half, and I would go right over the collarbone, and then I would take the next piece and make an X across it. So we would be like this and like that. That would just help hold down the collarbone so it didn't move as nearly as much, and I wasn't relying on the repaired ligaments to do their job fully and not get the clicking and rubbing that I was getting. I was able to work out a little bit more and sooner that way. Okay, now most of these exercises that your PT is going to have you do is probably just getting those range of motion back, maybe some wall climbs. They might have you do some simple rotator cuff exercises, even though they didn't do anything to your rotator cuff. But mobility is primarily the biggest key to begin with. If you don't have that full mobility back, then you probably didn't get that before you start strength training. Okay, so now you've been released from PT and you can go around the gym yourself. Here are some of the things that I recommend that you do and that helped me, that I still do to this day, and also things that I avoid. So let's start off with the things I would avoid. Number 1, I would avoid decline bench completely. There's almost no need for you to do it. It'll make it worse. The moment you bring your arms down and that gravity, you're gonna find that it just challenges that AC joint or collarbone to come up even further, and you're just gonna feel like it's coming up into your neck. And another thing I would avoid, at least in the first, I was told the first year, I probably waited maybe the first 6 to 8 months, is shrugs, especially heavy shrugs. Now, I used to do a ton of shrugs and I loved heavy sets of them. But you can't do them because as your ligaments go all the way down, even in the back of your trap that they had to fix with mine, if you challenge those and you're stretching them out with heavy shrugs, you're just working against what you want to achieve for your collarbone is a nice stable shoulder with that bump. Hopefully it's not protruding up too far. Okay, so when we're talking with building a healthy shoulder, we need to worry about all the different pieces and some of the most important supporting muscles of all for the shoulder. And one of those is the rear delt. A lot of people don't work it because they can't see it. I was probably guilty of this 20 years ago until somebody really explained to me why the importance of it, other than posture. It helps give a 3D look to the shoulder, but also with stability, it's a huge impact, right? It's gonna draw everything back, and the more that you keep those shoulders back, the better off your bump or your collarbone will probably hide. The moment it rolls forward, it's gonna protrude even more, like if I come across my chest. So rear delts is a great exercise that I still do. I like to do a single arm rear delt because I find if I do them together, my arm is really having to come across, so I can actually sit here and come just like this, right? I don't have to come too far past my chest to make that uncomfortable, but I like it coming from up high. Some people like it low, but if it comes for low for me, I just get more of an impingement. So I like it starting from up high, and I still end about shoulder height. So, but we're just sitting right here. This shouldn't be any issue with you. You know, if you have to start light, that's always a good thing to do until you understand the movement, but there's no need to chase the weight, especially when you're rehabbing your shoulder and you're trying to strengthen it without causing any more stretching or damage. Now, I'm sure many of you have done the rope pulls for rear delts. I don't like to stand too straight up. I like to have it coming from above and pulling back down, okay? So you can aim up here, you can aim down here depending where your comfort is, but just keeping those elbows out and your shoulders back. And recall I said avoid decline bench. Well, quite the opposite. Incline bench seemed to work really good for me, even better than just flat bench. Because as you lay back, you really can keep those shoulders pinned towards the bench. Your chest is up, which is putting your AC joint and collarbone back and into a better position that aligns with the shoulder. Again, you're gonna wanna keep it fairly light. It can be done for shoulder press or chest press with dumbbells. Even if you have a hammer strength machine, same idea. Let's say I have my dumbbells. This could be a hammer strength machine, a plate loaded. But if you just sit here and alternate one and then the other, as this other arm is having to stabilize that dumbbell, that's really good work for that shoulder to stabilize all the different working parts inside. So maybe just do 5 alternating, and then you could do 5 to 10 more. But again, that's another great exercise to really keep the tension on where you want it, but also focus on shoulder stability, because shoulder stability is crucial. In regards to building a healthy and stable shoulder, you might have done this in your PT. Continue to do it after your PT. It is great for scapula stability. We need to make sure that the scapula moves in a healthy way and that is strong. That way we can rely on all the shoulder is moving properly. That way the AC joint gets some relief and can find a healthy position again. So you want to start them on a bench so it's not as difficult, and then you can move to the floor. It's like a push-up, but you're not actually pushing up. So keeping your arms straight, you're gonna sink into your shoulder, that chest drop, and you're gonna prop out. You're gonna let that scapula sink in and prop out. Now you're keeping those elbows locked out. They're not moving. You're in and you're out. And you're in and you're out. You might start with 10 to 15 and then rest a minute and do that 4 sets. If you have a Bosu ball, or if you're as fortunate to have the life ball that I actually invented, then it's on another great advanced stability exercise that you can do that same movement. You grab the outside of a Bosu ball and worry about the stability that way, or you can grab 2 different life balls and do the same thing. You can drop in and come out. You can drop that into the scapula and then come back out. Just listen to your body. Do the exercises that feel good. If it hurts in that exercise, you just want to avoid it. Again, consult your doctor on all these exercises to make sure that you are released and available to do them. But again, I can't stress enough to listen to your own body and do what feels right for you. Don't chase the weight, keep it light. You will get stronger as it goes. You just want to avoid it going backwards too soon. I hope you found these things useful. If you need any help with anything additional or have any questions about this video, drop me a line in the comments. Hope you're on your way to recovery and back to working out and keeping that shoulder strong.